Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final day of the Crescent City Cup 2019. I believe this is the 8th annual Crescent City Cup, and we have some good matchups coming up today. Round, we're going to go to the CSW division, where first place Evan Berofsky is going second against Geoff Thevenot, who I think is third. I'm Morris Greenberg, and with me is Will Anderson. Will, how are you doing?
Good morning, Morris. I'm doing great. Very excited for these 4 games. We're going to be hopping back and forth between the 2 divisions. It's looking like both of them are really close, so probably not going to get any Gibsonizing unless somebody really goes on a tear. So should be a really good finish in both divisions. Definitely excited for this game, though. 2 very good players. We've seen both on the stream. Actually, maybe other commentators have seen them too. I know we've each seen both of these guys, and
I
should
haven't
be a
seen Geoff
really
yet
good
on the
game.
stream, actually.
Oh, really?
I look
Okay,
forward
so I'm confusing it with games that I've watched, probably.
Every game's
which
been
I've-
mesmerizing, I've heard, so.
Yeah, I've been
And you.
glued to the stream, even when I'm not commentating. So we're here a little bit early today because today is the big day that I would like to introduce my. There we go. Good job, Alec. Good guesses. So I'm doing a little Twitch chat game, try to get things a little more interactive. It's going to just be a simple point system, and there are 2 ways to get points. The first way is, as you've seen Alec do in the chat, you actually don't have to designate first and second. Just pick 2 letters, 2 different letters, any letters you want. And if the players end up designating the blanks as either of your picks, you get points equivalent to the tile value of the letter you guessed. So if you guess S and somebody says S for their blank, you get 1 point. But if you guess Z, you would get 10 points. So obviously you don't see a Z very much, but if you happen to guess one and you were correct, that would be a long way towards winning the prize. The other way to get points is simply to, when you're looking for plays, as we are, and there's a candidate play that uses the letters NOLA, N-O-L-A, for New Orleans, Louisiana. Just shout it out in the chat, and the first person that when I scroll back and see who suggested that play, you would get 2 points for that. Zev, I will post the prizes. They're contained on my Aerolith profile right now. If you don't like these prizes and you have a better idea for a prize, we would love to hear it. I have a couple different prizes that should appeal to all different skill levels and different people. I think for some people, the best prize would be to rename me on Aerolith for a month. I will change my name to the name of your choosing. You can change my name to your own name. You can change my name to Stupid Idiot if you're a Will Anderson hater. And I have many of those out there. Excellent suggestion by Matt Bernardina. I mean, that would be just playing into my hands. I might change my name to that unprompted. I love Corey Kluber.
One of the best.
So I'm jotting down everybody's predictions as they appear in the chat, just so that I know what's going on.
You get mine, Will?
Oh, did you do that in the Discord chat here?
No, I did it in the actual chat. I did the blank is in M as in Morris, and the blank is in W as in Will.
Beautiful. Love that. Love those. I love those. So good job, everybody, doing predictions. As I said, I'm going to be writing those down as I see them. So that's the game of Twitch chat, and it looks like the actual game is about to get underway. So let's see how it goes. Geoff going first.
It's going to be a good one. Geoff's going first, and they're right 1 game apart. Evan's first in the standings, and Geoff is within 100 spread points of him. So with 4 games left to go, either can win. Jesse Day's in second with the same record as Evan. Tim Weiss has the same record as Geoff. So there's definitely going to be, or there could be some movement in this division. And so we now see Geoff's tiles. Evan is now populating his rack. as DIHNRXY. Chat's suggesting Nixie and Dixie. Will, what are you seeing?
Those look pretty good to me. I'd probably prefer Dixie. That seems pretty reasonable, and I expect that to come down fast.
Although Geoff has Nixie set up on his rack, I'm not
okay.
always the best at
It's possible
knowing
that
the sort of leave values in Collins versus TWL. A bit better in Collins, or
not to the extent that I would sacrifice points to do it, but it's possible that maybe if the D isn't better, maybe HRD is better than HRN. I could see that being possible. Either way, this is again one of those situations where that's probably unlikely to be the decision that loses the game for Geoff. So you want to just play one of those two as quickly as you can and save your time for tougher decisions. So Evan with the Z, and he can play Oye.
the chat, Matthew O'Connor asked, are they not going to turn the board around so it's always upside down? He doesn't turn the board at all. I forget if Geoff does or not. But yeah, he hasn't moved the board at all in this tournament when he's been on the stream. So the board should stay in one place for this entire game.
Yeah, that would be funny if both players were turning the board so that it was always upside down to both players. Haven't seen that before.
Also, while Evan's thinking, until when can they announce what the two blanks are?
Yeah, for new people coming to the stream, you can keep your guesses coming until I see the first blank is drawn. Then the guesses are closed. So if anyone's just joining and you want to guess what letters the players will designate the blanks, it's not too late. We haven't seen a blank come out yet. Obviously, the reason for that is as soon as it comes out, it can be incredibly obvious what the blank's going to become. So I think I might also institute some kind of limit, like as soon as a player reaches like 100 points or something, because sometimes late in the game, you know what a player is going to try to, if they're getting a blank, you know it's going to be an S or something. So maybe when a player gets to 100 points, we'll close the guessing as well.
Sounds like a good rule. It looks like Evan just placed the play we were all expecting, Oye, for 36 points. A pretty reasonable play here. His other options didn't seem like they were quite worth the point sacrifice.
Yeah, it seems like I was looking for any reasonable play to set the Z up. You could have just left off the Z there, but that setup is going to get blocked constantly, and it scores only 6 points, so it's completely pointless to play. So we approve of Evan's play.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that too. I wasn't thinking playing Oye, but maybe doing something a bit more deceptive, just playing like a YE word and trying to making YE as a 2-letter word and then making words starting with an E. But it looks like there weren't really many options to even do that. So when you have 36 points, sometimes don't overcomplicate it. Just take the points.
Yep, I think so. No surprise that Morris would be looking for something deceptive, but that's what we've come to expect from him. Just kidding, Morris. HAE goes down. We like that, I think. It seems pretty standard again with scoring nicely and keeping a nice leave. The leave containing the D does go down now in 2 places with OD and HAED, HAED.
That's a good point. HAE takes a lot of back hooks, and so that's actually a play that significantly opened the bottom quadrant of the board, bottom right quadrant specifically. So it already is, I think, right, we already saw a few games with Evan specifically, I think, where things got shut down pretty quickly. I wouldn't be too surprised if this was a fairly open game.
Yeah, it looks hard to close. Just for the TWL viewers out there, it's also the case that EH takes an S. It's a verb in the Collins Dictionary, so that makes things even opener. Not that there's any shortage of S hooks currently. But at least that would be like one little closed part. But even that can be reopened. So yeah, we think Evan's just gonna take one of those aforementioned hooks that Morris was talking about. He puts his T, Hyatt, and Jute. That looks pretty good to me. Other option would have been Taj. That puts the J in a bit of a easy spot to score. Evan would have had an A to play under there, so there might have been some merit to it, but I think I do prefer Jute. What do you think, Morris?
I prefer Jute to Taj. I think just Taj with A and O in Collins both being follow J. It seems like that's kind of unnecessarily giving opportunities to score. Yeah, I mean, especially right, like if we look bingo lanes right now for openness, but there aren't a lot of high scoring point spots, right? If you just have okay letters, so kind of give your opponent that option.
Yep, we see the first blank is out, and that'll be it for the guesses. I think I've got either 11 or 12 people having submitted some guesses, so we'll see what that blank becomes. There's a lot of different letters. I'm very glad to see that not everybody guessed like SE. People changed it up a bit. So what should Geoff do here with his very bingo-y? Yeah, I was thinking something fishy. Do we like maybe playing a little more, playing a few more letters here? He could have played rodeo on top of Nixie. I might have preferred that if he's going to use more than a couple tiles.
Yeah,
But
rodeo would have been interesting. Uri would have also been interesting, making ox.
Uri taking an R hook in Collins as well, and he would have retained one. Given
I
that
did not know that even. Wow.
So that makes it even better. And he's drawn. So we got both players very likely to get bingos down here. What will Evan pick? He's got a lot of places to play, to think about.
And so we've seen a few different styles this tournament in this sort of situation, right? We saw yesterday, this was TWL, but Ori Swift chose to sacrifice, I think, 4 or 5 points for a bingo that significantly things more closed. And we see Evan's top choice, and actually Nathan Benedict, we also saw yesterday, did not sacrifice the 2 or 3 points and kept things really open, and it kind of hurt him in the end. So see Tetanol, which people in the chat are suggesting, and it looks like what Evan is doing now. That's going to be a bit of the more open kind of choice. He could have maybe done something like, I don't know, Saltate to be a bit more closed, but definitely there's a lot. So I definitely see the merit of it. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I do like getting the points here. I do worry a little bit about putting any letter in the triple lane after a play like or, which is a really, really strong signal. But I think you probably just have to live with it for a few extra points. As Matthew in the chat says, you are setting up multiple spots to score on the next turn. So if you can just dodge a really big play on Geoff's next move, which I think he will, he's going to have a big play, a bingo, but not a triple. He should have options to score with, well, he'll at least have wigs and jots, I suppose. That's pretty good. So I do think I like Evan's play. There would have been more defensive options for those who are defensively inclined, and I wouldn't have quibbled with those either.
Yeah. And did anyone guess an N as the blank also? We forgot to.
No. Yeah, I'm looking over my records and I do not see an N, so that's one blank down, but there's one to go, and hopefully we'll see somebody get some points from that and maybe some NOLA words while we're at it.
So Geoff just elected to go with Readily and OY. That scores 2 more points than Readily and NY, which was suggested in the chat. And the other thing is it doesn't give up double doubles. So I don't know off the top of my head if it's better to slot the R in the 4th slot of a triple lane or the 2nd slot, which the NY version would have done. But I
kudos
think
to
this
anybody
decision
that knows
makes
that.
sense.
Because
Michael might know that, but it's hard for humans to know that right away.
Yeah. So, given Evan's rack, I think just wigs and jots looks really fine. It scores well. It sets up another S hook for swigs, which actually now it's just jutes for S hooks. It's at least when he plays with jots. So he gets another one. So if he were to draw a bingo to his leave of RSW,
I mean, you could do wires here also, WEIRS off of the E in Readily, because you have another S.
That's a fair point. I just don't like keeping WG. You know, that's if you play Weirs, you keep WG and you delay bingoing a little further. It's not that your bingo percentage is so high keeping RSW, but it's definitely higher than WGS. Like significantly higher, I'm expecting.
That's a fair point. So given Evan sort of choices yesterday, if he
that's true. That's true. It's not a play without merit. I just think I would for sure play wigs. I wouldn't spend much time debating those two.
So
beautiful rack here for Geoff.
What does he do here? Does he do fifing or something?
Yeah, I guess he has to, huh? Oof. I don't love that. At least the saving grace of just playing fifing is that the Ys are gone. You're not going to get hit with an FY play for $1 million. It's not great to open the triple, but the whole board is open, so what does it matter? You don't have to worry about it. Possible to play Guilt. That leaves IIFF. Are you not into leave values lately, Matthew?
Gilf is not good yet, for those wondering in the chat. They're calling Zor TWL.
Yeah, maybe at some point. We have other variations.
TWL, I believe.
We have variations of that. Don't want to get too in depth into what that acronym is. I'm sure we all know. Yeah, I don't know. FF is fine, but FFII compared to IT with so many open letters, even after fifing. Fifing is kind of closed, but you still have an E and R to play to. It's like I don't feel like it's even close between Guilt and fifing. I would play fifing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It really depends on what you think, Evan. Can you infer an S if after wigs or no?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's definitely more common that he has an S after wigs for sure. But it could just mean he is consonant overloaded, which he kind of happens to be. Very consonant heavy rack that he does have. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't feel interesting. I didn't see that one coming.
Do Tiffin also. Okay, he plays fit. Got it.
That's cool. Yeah, it sets his other F up. Again, with the board being as open as it is, Does it really matter if he's going to get an F play there? Like the options on
Actually,
the
the
board are
IG part, the IG with the N and Nixie still available makes that not as terrible a leave as normal.
yeah, that's true. I just think the upside of that F setup is not particularly high. It's just like a solid score on a board that should offer many, many, many good scores. That F is going to play through the L of Tetanol for probably more points than that setup would have been anyway.
And quickly plays Wira.
Yeah, he did have some underlapping plays under Tetanol there, such as Matthew points out Rami, which scores pretty well. I don't know. That's a close one. We'll have to look at that. I think fit is actually. I don't know why I'm being so harsh on it. It seems like it scores well, and it's nice to get that other F. Keeping one should ensure that you score nicely on your next turn. I'm kind of coming around to it as being a pretty good play, or not. Like fifing is so much better.
Yeah, I think that's
I think it's defensible.
That's fair. I think it is
Sorry.
defensible. And
Sorry, Jeff. That was harsh.
Geoff quickly plays Philo. And actually, if you think about it, IF there, if he draws an A, E, or O, which he drew the O, he could have made Philo, Phyla, or File exactly where he played it. So keeping IF there, you're with the F spot he just created and Philo.
All right.
Available.
We've seen Stardom. Yes, John Stardom, friend of mine, Canadian player. One of the great names of Scrabble, in my opinion. His name just went down as a bingo. And we've got two winners of the blank challenge, and that is Lord Livgan and Diane Versman. Congratulations. You just earned the first points in the challenge for guessing T.
Yes, and so to be clear, though, for the challenge, it's the cumulative total, whoever gets the most total points after these 4 rounds.
Yes, but always good to be the first on the board, of course. Yeah, those are two players who are not probably going to care for the ISC coaching, being pretty experienced players. They don't need my advice, but they might enjoy renaming me on Aerolith to something funny. Okay, so Geoff saddled with 2 U's. That's not what he was hoping for after Philo, where he had a leave that was getting better rapidly. I think he left EGIL and just drew NUU.
So in this sort of situation now, Geoff is also down by 100-ish. So this kind of seems like a key decision point for him. If he misses 1 or 2 turns, it's very, very tough for him to come back thereafter. So he's probably going to think pretty carefully here about gives him the best shot to claw his way back.
Yeah, this is a very frustrating situation for him. He needs to get those U's off. I'm not really sure where he can do it in a safe way that makes any sense at all. He could do Ulu and Mew alongside Stardom, opening that triple that's just going to get crushed every time. He could exchange the 2 U's if he doesn't want to do that. That could work out better for him sometimes. He could play Unglue through the end of Nixie. I don't know. Nothing looks great, but I guess he can just try to. Yeah, I guess I
just might exchange
basically-
UU.
Yeah, flip a coin between Ulu and exchanging UU probably, because you really want to stay close to bingoing. Unfortunately, it's not a great board for ING, but he's going to have to draw something and get pretty lucky. If he
It's a
does
tough
play
position.
Ulu, Evan's going to play, I think Carman is a word, so that would come down with Mun and score a boatload.
Does he necessarily play Ulu at N9, or does he could take it for a few fewer points also, and in Nixie?
Huh.
Because NU sets up GNU.
I like that. Yeah, that seems a little better. It's not that easy to hit the
Fewer
triple.
points.
Evan does have a couple
He's
letters.
playing it. He's playing Ulu in the lower point spot.
I like that. That's a much safer way. I mean, what can Evan do here to? Oh, and he's drawn peening. That is a word. Does it play anywhere else?
Is that might look like to Evan an S setup for Sulu.
Yeah, definitely.
So good. I mean, in a lot of situations, he wouldn't have an N or X or M to play directly above there to block, but he might try to sacrifice points and block directly below Ulu situations. So Ulu, I think, has a lot of merit to it there in that spot specifically because it puts your opponent to sort of figure out how can I block this area correctly. I think they'll try to block in a different way than how you intend to use the area.
Yeah. What will Evan do here that can really? So one thing that I see that he can do a double through that U, Collins word of Karauna. Instead, he plays coma. That's interesting. He's not worrying about Geoff's setup, which I think I would have liked to see him try to address it. He definitely had some good plays. He had Karauna double. He had Kaman to the triple. That would at least block the Esuk of Sulu, even if it gave floaters back.
Yeah, Corona looks excellent there. It really doesn't give back that much opportunity for bingos, and like playing 7 tiles like that really makes it so really hard to bingo in the future.
I would imagine he just overlooked it. Now, the real interesting question, though, is where I don't know about this placement. This is not good for the future of the board here. I might have liked to see him play peening underneath Ulu with overlaps just to give himself a chance to, if Evan doesn't, he might be able to open the top part of the board with a play through one of those E's. Now it just looks like it looks tough. I don't know. Maybe it's better to take the points. I'm not sure. What do you think, Morris, between peening in that spot or for 3 fewer points underlapping Ulu?
I actually prefer this placement, I think. I could be wrong, but even though it looks like it's not adding any new lanes, if you make any horizontal play through any of the letters in peening to the left-hand side, that's going to start opening up lanes.
Or a parallel play with the right letters could create some nice lanes as well. Okay.
So I think that it definitely has merit there. And again, now Evan is not up by more than a bingo now. So, and there's a lot of open space in the top left quadrant, and Geoff now has preserved it such that there is some space in the bottom left quadrant as well, potentially for bingos. So, Geoff, I think, has enough board wise to make up that 44-point difference right now.
So I'm proud to say I actually see a bingo here, a Collins bingo for Evan. Anybody else?
I do not see it, but
yeah, it's
that is not that surprising to me.
It's in the mid to low probability range.
Evan is kind of smiling and laughing right now. I wonder what that's about.
Maybe he spotted it and he's feeling good. So Evan, very strong word knowledge. If the winner of the chat contest does elect to rename me on aerolith.org, the anagramming website, he would be one of the few people to jeopardize me being in first place on the certain challenges. Okay, the bingo was Paravant through the A of coma. Pretty low probability word. You can't really fault Vang. Vang is a perfectly good play, except that Paravant was available.
And actually, it doesn't even block Geoff's best play because in Collins, QIN is a word. And I'm guessing, yep, Geoff puts it down right now. So that now it's going to be a pretty close game. It's only a 20-point game as a result. So Paravant, it seems like that would have been a huge swing.
Evan has drawn probate, and he's going to see it and play it. So he got a little bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card for that Paravant miss. And we know it's very, very likely that he'll see this and play it up high with Wera and WE, rather. Down it comes. That was quick.
And for those wondering, enerved is not a word. Oh wait, is enerved good in Collins? Actually, I don't know this. If it is,
I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't think it's valid, but a few different people in the chat have suggested it, so want to make sure about that.
He could just play it and hope for the best. I mean, I don't know. It's very difficult. It would be a great play if it were double challenge, but not as good now. Just because Evan's alarm bells are probably going to go off pretty quickly. And he drew brioches through the R of probate. Wow. Always nice when that happens. You're getting a lot of nice draws and bingos. Not sure what Geoff should do here to kind of prolong the game, because he, unbeknownst to him, he needs to block that R. But of course, why would he when he needs as much openness as he can get? So not a great situation.
Yeah, this is back to being down. You don't want to be down 100 again after starting to claw your way back for sure. And so, but we saw yesterday even Jackson Smiley came back pretty incredibly in round one. So we'll see.
Scrabble,
NOLA can do some magic things.
Crazy things can happen.
There's a suggestion from the chat to do Den, making ED, NE, and QIN. I think that seems pretty reasonable.
That looks as good as anything. You hate to block that E, but
I mean,
what else can you do? I mean, I don't see anything. You still need to score a little bit to keep in touch if Evan were to draw poorly. Yeah, I'm fine with Den. It's just a really low winning percentage situation for him, unfortunately. So,
I mean, you could. The leave is too bad. I mean, you could do like Rev, making refs, edit, and Vita for 22, but that leave of DENN probably isn't worth keeping the board a bit more open.
That's not. I mean, you really need that E though. From his perspective, you need the E and the probate letters, because it's almost a lock that one of those two is going to get used up. And I would say
there are also a fair amount of O's in the bag, so overwords could be valuable to keep, right? Keeping VER. So I guess Den has that merit at least.
That's true. I guess you do have the A of coma as kind of a lifeline. If you get really lucky, maybe you'll get something that hits hard there. It's probably far likelier that you'll get a cheapo there that won't change much.
Yeah, I mean, are there any plays that could just make things crazily open? Is the other question that we're
It's an
not really considering.
interesting idea from Diane of just Vendu to the U of Pulu that at least makes an. I mean, it's not closing very much. It actually opens a couple more through tiles. It's very unlikely that the U. I mean, I guess there could be doubles to the U, but it seems like a reasonable way to create a couple more through tiles to play
Actually,
through.
here's an idea that's kind of crazy, but what if he
All right,
plays
let's hear it.
under probate, making a juicy triple lane and a possible bingo lane right underneath?
What was I didn't catch the suggestion.
EN, right? Making PERENON.
Oh wow.
Things wildly open, but it'll get rid of both your E's, which
Now is
makes it
the
very
now is
tough.
it's the time for that stuff. Oh, it's interesting. Maybe Matthew says if you were to play Vendu, just tack the E on and then try to get bingo with ES pluralizing Vendus.
Not a bad idea. That would add a
might-
lot of points.
You might need something that heavy. Yeah, you might need something huge like that.
Although looking at the vowels and consonants here, I think there's 10 consonants, 7 vowels, and most of those, there's only one E left in the bag. You want to keep that E.
That's true. Also true. Okay, down goes Davin. I think that's fine. I mean, it's actually unwittingly saving him from insta loss, so that's helpful. He couldn't have known that, but as it is, it scores 22 and gives a couple more options between the E of Peening and the E of Davin and N of Davin, or pluralizing Davin. There's still some options for him. They're not as powerful as he would want, but it's better than nothing.
It looks like he didn't get the draw he needed, so we'll sort of see how Evan approaches this, but it's looking ever more likely that Evan's going to win. But it is a good point that, like, it's now non-insta loss, but even bigger implications is that tournament that saves a lot of spread. And right, Evan is about 80 spread points, I think, above Geoff right now. Sort of thing that's like, well, at least I blocked the bingo. Have real implications for the final tournament standings.
Sure, every point counts. I hesitate to. I mean, it's great for him that he blocked brioches, but I hesitate to give him too much credit for blocking brioches because I'm sure he was agonizing over blocking those lines. I think he would have wanted to leave them all open if he could, but didn't feel that the other options were good enough. So that was just a happy accident of a play that I still think was a perfectly defensible play by Geoff of Davin. So Evan is sitting on an 80-point lead. He's got 6 tiles in the bag, so doesn't want to play 6. I don't think there's a great way for him to do so. I honestly think he's... Mochi. Yeah, Mochi would be fine. Just anything, really, that scores anything at all should get him home, even if Geoff hits something. Mochi looks okay. He could play Hobo down underneath Tetanal and preserve some pretty good bingoing chances of his own.
I think that would also make sense, although it is nice for viewers who aren't aware of sort of one in the bag endgame strategy. So often players like to leave one tile in the bag to force their opponent to empty the bag.
So
often in that scenario is 2 in the bag. Your players will want to play at least 2 tiles. So sometimes playing 4 or 5 tiles here preferred.
Yeah. So now he's left 3, which does give Geoff an opportunity to maybe play 2 somewhere. I'm not sure that he has any great way to score with all those consonants. Oh, king down low would be pretty good, right?
Yeah, that would score a lot. Although I guess there are a few bingo lanes. It's hard to block everything. So we should actually
Yeah.
look at the contents of the bag to see if Geoff can fish for multiple things right now. Maybe kind is better than king. I'm not sure.
Well, I would like it better if there was an eye that was really open. I think it's probably going to be better to play king just because the trend leave goes much better with open E.
But there were only 3 in the bag, so it might have been that Geoff saw an opportunity where there are 2 bingos.
Well, Geoff just drew a bingo, but
Okay,
Evan
yeah.
has, yeah, Evan's going to play Solicize. So Evan will play Solicize, Geoff will play Runagate, and that'll be the game, probably, I would expect. And even had Evan not had a bingo, I don't think Geoff was likely to pull ahead as long as Evan just scored a lot of points on this move anywhere. I think he would be okay.
Actually, he might maybe play Silocias off the A and Coma instead, because putting the S in the triple lane, he might think spread wise more. Right, so
That's
it's
a
9 fewer points.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the S in the triple lane with that pool does look pretty bad. There's just a lot of stuff. Well, and he also is. Yeah, I mean, look at all the stuff that he has to the S. He actually.
I actually think Silocias might be a better play. Now thinking about it, right? In the Runagate scenario, Geoff would just not have a bingo after.
Hmm. Whereas, yeah, I think the bingo percentage after Solicize is like way higher.
So even though it's 9 more points, I think actually probably spread wise the right play is Silocias. But again, once you have the win, you often are just excited to put your bingo down and guarantee it.
Yep, if obviously spread does matter, like we were talking about. So you would have maybe like to see with 7 minutes on the clock a little calculating, I guess, but also mental energy is at a premium, and who knows if Evan Berofsky has been partying like mad after every night of play and just needs to get through the games with a win.
So overall, I think this was a pretty good game. Yeah, and we know that Evan doesn't drink. I think Will was trolling a bit there.
Teetotaler squad,
For sure.
which we are both on.
I mean, I'm not on it anymore. Back in the day, I was, but I enjoy the occasional drink.
You're an honorary member of Teetotaler Squad.
That's good.
But yes, Evan, not a drinker either. I think I did know that, but I just like imagining that everybody we see is badly hungover and doing their best to get through. It's more of a kind of a human interest story.